And we are live. Hello to everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in to this awesome live stream of mine. This time we will go over some exam practice. And more specifically, that will be an exam practice in the topic of software design and development, which is one of my favorite courses in university. So, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone, and happy long weekend to all my North American friends. Super excited to be here. It's been a while, I know, but this time I have an amazing excuse. As you can see, I have lots of exams in school, so yeah, practicing a lot, learning a lot. I've been binge watching all the videos from my university, and I actually like studying this way a bit better than just spreading all the material into half a year. Let's do it in 6 days. We can do it. Cool. So thank you so much for all the folks on in the comments. We have Badger here, who is an awesome moderator and who just happened to open a new Discord community channel along with Josh, Persistent. I'm going to share a link right now. That's Treehouse. I have it ready. I'm sharing it in the comments as I speak. It's a Discord community that is related to my server. So basically, on my server, we talk mostly about programming, about Python, about different programming languages, and practices of computer science. In the Treehouse Club, we talk about everything. So gaming, 3D printing, design, ghost stories, probably. I hope I have a few to say. I have a few to tell. And yeah, definitely join the guys. That would be really, really nice. Hello to Colleen, who is here and who is requesting OpenCV videos. I have a bunch. Actually, I have two of them. Check out, yeah, I think it's called Drawing Shapes with OpenCV, No More Photoshop, something along these lines. We will go over the comments a bit more later on. I just want to say hi to everyone before we begin. We have Hardik here. Hello, great to see you. Somebody else has some exams, hey? Not just myself. Well, good luck. Good luck. Hello to everyone who I see in the comments. Thank you so much for having things in advance so I can look at. Awesome. Hello from Vancouver. Awesome. Thank you guys. Ryuya is here too. Richard is here too. Awesome. We can start now. Before we begin, there's actually something I wanted to show you. In the last stream, we've been covering our latest sound and audio code jams, and we've presented a bunch of projects as well as the winning project, which was Vapor Wave It. Now, there were some technical difficulties, mostly a Murphy's Law situation where the app was live for about a month, for quite some time, and then in the same day we've created the stream. This is where the hosting ran out, so the guys had to fix it. They had to make the hosting a bit longer. So now we officially have the live application, and you can check it out in the link in the description. I do owe you a really nice demo because it's an awesome application. So there you go. So from the repository, we'll click here, and this is the live app that won our challenge. Now, one of the reasons why it won, because everything works as expected. As you can see, it plays music, and we can play around with low pass and with playback speed. So if you check out the repository, you can see how you can load your very own files into this application. There you go. They have a few example files, but you can try with your own. And yeah, check it out. It is very modular. We're gonna talk a lot about modularity today. So this is a good example of how an application should look like. Awesome. Cool. Wow. Super happy to be here. Super happy to start this because this is one of my most favorite modules in university. And the reason why I like it so much is because I think that's what separates between amateurs or beginning programmers and professional programmers. When you are able to reason about the processes behind software design and development, you're on a completely different level, buddy. So that's exactly what we will talk about today. I think you will find it very interesting. Now, needless to say that this is a half a year worth of a course in the university that I'm summarizing into a very, very short presentation. And I had to paraphrase a lot of it because I cannot really use my university materials in my tutorials. I'm not supposed to, so I'm not doing that. So what you see in this particular stream is a simplified version. It's a very simplified version, but I will share some resources where you can see the accurate definitions, free resources. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Cool. Let's begin, and we will go over the questions later on. I will look in the comments after. And yeah, so you can find the link in the description, and you can watch this presentation alongside myself. And yeah, okay. Hello, JA. Yeah, I'm going to look at the comment shortly. Sorry, guys. JA is here. Cool. Let's do this. Let's begin. So the first thing we talk about here, and this is a new presentation software, so I'm sorry if I'm not properly using it. It's a test. So the very first topic of this course is modules. So what is a module? Now, so far on this channel, when I talked about modules, what I meant was packages or libraries that we can install and we can import into our Python code and use pre-made functionality that other developers took care for us. This saves us lots of time coding, and this is just very convenient. So what is a module? Pygame is a module. Tkinter is a module, and most of the libraries we use on the channel, that's what I refer to as a module. But that's not the only definition. There's actually a variety of definition to a module. And if I have to simplify it, a module is a piece of code, a software unit that we can logically separate from the rest of the program. Simplified. Again, if you're looking for the proper, very accurate definition, I have two resources for you. The first resource is the most up-to-date vocabulary for professional lingo, internationally accepted. That's the 2017 edition. Now, this one costs money, and I actually got it because I'm a university student, and I paid a lot for this module. So I do have the most recent one, but there is a free version, which is the 2010 edition. And frankly, I think that it might be a bit better. It's not as accurate as the 2017 one, but it's a bit easier to read. So basically what you have here is not just the definition of a module, it's the definition of anything related to computer science. Functional unit, functional testing, and everything is organized in an alphabetical order. If you are ever wondering, what is this thing that you're looking at that is some kind of a weird concept and weird technical word, this is where you look for the accurate definition, okay? So a module then is not only a piece of code that we can logically separate from the rest of the program. It actually has a bunch of definitions. And the most accurate way, at least one of the definitions, is a software unit that is identifiable, that is discrete and identifiable in respect to compiling, combining with other pieces of software, and loading. I actually memorized it. So this is how accurate definitions would be. Now, another definition is basically a class definition. So a collection of both data and the routines that act upon it. Another definition is a bunch of source code files. Another definition is logically separatable piece of software. So definitely check out this vocabulary. You will find it very interesting, I guarantee, if you can make sense out of it. Hopefully you can. So this entire course is basically presenting you with a proper definition, and then the lecturer is explaining them to you in a normal, regular human language. That's why I enjoy it so much. It's my professor, Matthew Yee King. He's in charge of the program, and he's one of my favorite lecturers. So yeah, this course is amazing. If you're taking this in the University of London, you're going to have a very nice time. Cool. So why do we use modules? What's the purpose of separating those pieces of code and making them discrete? Why can't we just have a bunch of global variables and work with them, right? So first of all, we don't want to repeat ourselves, right? If we wrote some kind of a functionality, if we wrote some piece of code that, you know, we can reuse it later, we want to save some time. So that's the first reason for modularity. Another reason is that if we ever need to edit or update something within our code, we don't need to update the entire piece of software. We can just look for the particular module we would like to change, and we change it. That's it. Now, another reason is because it's easier to learn your program. So if you're working by yourself, maybe it's not a big deal. But if you're working as a team and you wrote a piece of code, holy smokes, you want your team to be able to understand it fast, okay? So that way somebody can learn your program little by little, bit by bit, without looking at the entire program as a whole and getting a, whew, I don't know, getting a headache. So that's it. Now, when I'm talking about those type of programs, also, one thing I should mention, it's not a hello world application that takes 10 lines of code. I'm talking about more sophisticated pieces of software that somebody might want to have. So if we're talking about websites, I'm talking about a website for a company or something that is a bit more advanced. If we're talking about a game, I'm talking about an official game with lives, scores, and levels. So once your software becomes a bit more convoluted, once there's more components to it, it's very important to start thinking about those little details that I'm presenting right now. If you're working with simple software, if you're just beginning your journey, there is no reason for you to think in these terms because it's just going to discourage you. It's a lot of things to learn. But if you do have some background with programming, if you're looking to improve your set of skills, and if you're looking to save some time, because if you plan your software in advance, you can build it like that. If you start building it as you go, sure, you may come to the same conclusion in the end of the day, but it will probably take you longer. Because everything I'm showing here is basic knowledge. It's a lot of it is common sense, and a lot of it is something you can figure out with time. Now, very important part of this course, actually two very important parts. It's module cohesion and module complexity as well. The second one I forgot. We will see it soon. Sorry, guys. I didn't really practice before this. I'm trying to memorize things. I studied something else yesterday. So the first part of our module topic would be module cohesion. So what content should a single module have? What should we bundle together to create a module, right? What makes sense to do? Now, my university was a bit ambiguous when it comes to levels of cohesion. I mean, what is very acceptable, what is not so acceptable, and what is very unacceptable. My university was very there's case uses where this is acceptable, there's case uses where it's not. However, there is a proper definition, and I found it in the University of Calgary. So this resource is here for you as well. If you need some help, definitely check it out. Okay, so this is a combination from other resources as well as what I learned in my course. Cool. So communicational cohesion, that will be the first subcategory of module cohesion. So this is where module elements are using the exact same input data or the exact same output data. So in this case, it makes a lot of sense to combine them together, because if something is using the exact same data, that's part of the same task, that's part of the same functionality. You can combine it very well together. Now, University of Calgary is claiming that it's semi-acceptable. My university is claiming it's really acceptable all the time. Okay, and I've made some nice illustrations for you to refer to that kind of explains everything. It's not the same illustrations that my teacher showed you, so it was very, very challenging. Yeah. Now, functional cohesion. It's where all the different tasks or all the different elements of a module are working towards a well-defined goal. This is basically a function, the same functionality or the same task. So, for example, if all the modules are responsible for eating a cookie, right? So your function is eat a cookie, but the elements and the tasks are open your mouth, insert cookie, chew, right? So these are individual tasks. However, you can combine them into the same module because they are all working towards chewing cookies, eating cookies, right? Highly desirable. This is the best practice according to my university and the University of Calgary, for sure. Yeah. Logical cohesion. And this one, you can already tell that it's a bit problematic. Now, this is where the module, all the elements, all the tasks of a module are doing logically similar things. I don't know what's wrong with my English today. Sorry, guys. I'm going to drink a bit of coffee. You can tell I didn't speak much after I woke up. Amazing, amazing coffee. McDonald's. Okay, homemade. So Basically, what we have here is we have an example of two logically similar processes. So both functions, both process MP3 audio and both process wave audio, are dealing with processing audio. However, one of them is dealing with MP3 files and another one is dealing with wave files. So do we combine them into a single module? Probably not. Probably not. If one of them needs a special set of functionality to deal with MP3 and to convert it to other, extract information out of it, it will most likely have different functionality from the wave file because we're dealing with two different formats. So just because two tasks are doing similar things, it doesn't necessarily mean we need to combine them together. Okay, necessarily. Because in the end of the day, when you look at all those rules, these are not hard written rules. There are all kinds of cases where things are acceptable and things are not acceptable. And it's up to you to reason about it as the developer. There are some extreme cases where things might work better that way, right? Because every piece of software, every module is a case by case situation. And whenever we are creating software, we usually start from scratch. We usually start from an idea and then we try to develop it. So there's all kinds of ways of reaching the same goal. And there's a certain set of practices that some developers use, certain set of practices that other developers use. It's up to you in the end of the day. Procedural cohesion is also not so good, according to both University of Calgary and University of London. So this is where module tasks could contribute to the same procedure or sequence of execution. So if a certain set of tasks are part of the same sequence, should they be combined into the same module? Not necessarily. They don't have to be bundled together into the same module if they just follow one another and they have the same sequence. Again, necessarily is the key word. Okay, you can do as you wish, whatever floats your boat, guys. This is just a set of principles to keep in mind and to study rigorously before my test. So 5, sequential cohesion. Now, this is very interesting because we use it very, very often. This is where the input, the output of one function is served as an input to another function. Now, the reason why here it's in a semi-acceptable stage is because both my university and both University of Calgary are saying that there might be some problems with that. Okay, it doesn't necessarily mean that they should be bundled together in a module, but those of you who are dealing with artificial intelligence, neural networks, that's exactly what we do in a neural network. We pass the input, we pass the output of one function to another. So when we calculate the loss, when we calculate, when we do gradient descent, we keep feeding functions with the output of others. So this is acceptable from my perspective. However, keep in mind that you need to really watch out. Okay. Next, we have temporal cohesion. Okay, so if all the module tasks are needed at the same stage of your program, should they be bundled together? No. No, no, no. It does, if they're all needed at the same stage, it doesn't mean they relate to one another. Okay, one of them might be doing one thing, another of them might be doing another thing. They might be dealing with different types of data. So the fact that they're needed at once doesn't make any difference to us. Okay, so do not combine them into one if that's the case. And this is not ambiguous. Now, coincidental cohesion. Everything is a coincidence. None of the tasks or elements is related to one another. We obviously shouldn't combine them in a module. There has to be some sort of a relationship or some sort of a logic behind combining them together. Yep, so that's how it is. Cool. Well, that summarizes module cohesion. Next, we have module coupling. So if module cohesion was dealing with the contents of the module, module coupling is dealing with the relationship between one module to another. So how closely tangled are they? Like how are they truly independent, or does one of them rely on the other? Okay, this is very interesting. This is also nice. I also redrawn. I had a really nice set of drawings that my teacher did, and I really wanted to use it, but then I feel like I'm not supposed to share it with anybody. So this is a paraphrasing, all of it, okay? So first of all, we have common environment coupling. So basically, if two modules are using the same data, that's okay. That's fine. If the relationship between them is the fact that they're sharing data, it's all good. So the only problem is you need to be careful. So you don't want one module to change the data without the other module knowing about it. So when you do this, please make sure you have some sort of a mechanism to verify that. Next, we have content coupling. So some or the entire content of one module is included within another module. Now, this is something we see in event listeners. So if you're dealing a lot with JavaScript, this is a common practice. This is very acceptable. So what we do in JavaScript is we create an event listener and we pass an anonymous function. I don't know why I'm doing this. It is an anonymous function. We're passing into it. Now, this function doesn't have a name. And the reason why we don't name it is because the only entity that can use this function is the event listener. It is unnecessary outside of this event listener, so it doesn't even have a name. Okay, so this is common practice. So the only problem with it, the slight problem, it's actually not a problem. It's a good thing that only module A would have access to module B. The rest of the program might not even know of its existence. Okay, so just keep that in mind. It's perfectly acceptable. Now, we're dealing with the less acceptable things, actually, big no-nos that are only acceptable in extreme situations. So we have control coupling. So this is where one module controls another module. So it's basically passing a series of flags and it's changing the state of another module. And as a result, it affects and influences the way that this module, the child module, or I don't know, could you call it child, that the influenced module is executing. Okay, this is not good. This is not not a very good thing to do. It is acceptable in rare cases where you have challenges in terms of what was the biggest challenge of it. I believe that if you have some hardware limitations, if you need to be able to even then, yeah, I don't think it's a very good thing to do. Yeah, you might as well make two different modules for that instead of just sending flags to one. Maybe instead of having a yellow flag and a turquoise flag, just create a yellow module and a turquoise module. That's probably a better solution from how I see it. But that's just a set of principles. We're reasoning about things. I would love to see what you guys have to say about it. I'm going to check the comments very, very soon. If you have any questions, definitely write them down. And if you can, please add 3 emojis of aliens in front of your questions so I can differentiate them from other comments. 3 aliens, remember. Okay, we have the fourth module, which is fourth module, cohesion, is it? We are... I forgot how it's called. I keep forgetting. Module coupling. That's right. I have it here. Data coupling. Come on, Maria. Come on. Again, a case of needing another sip of the coffee. Love it. Okay, data coupling. Perfectly normal. Output from one module serves as input to another. Perfectly normal. Okay, this is where you basically have... Let me think of examples. So you create one function and you pass it as input to another. We can find it in decorators, probably. I bet you Badger is very, very happy. That's how decorators work. So you pass one function into another. One function is creating some a return statement, has something in return, and that's what you pass into another function. Common practice, very good. Hybrid coupling. Okay, this is very, very interesting. This is where the same piece of data is being interpreted in a different way in other module. So for example, we have this variable B+. Now, one module receives it as a grade, another module receives it as a tree structure, and the last module receives it as a blood type. Now, obviously, the same piece of data cannot represent 3 things at once. It might be able to if you have some crazy hardware restrictions, if you don't have... So back in the day, software were were not as sophisticated as in our days, as well as computers. So we had limitations in terms of processing and storing things in memory. So back then it was acceptable. If you don't have enough memory and the same piece of data relates to two different things, back then it was acceptable. These days, I don't think anybody is that limited in terms of hardware that they cannot store an individual variable for the blood type and for the grade, right? So this is bad, not good. It's only good if you were doing this many years ago. Okay, pathological coupling. Now this one is worse than control coupling, because it's not only that one module is sending flags to another, it is actively changing the way it is built. So it has a certain sequence of execution, module B, and then module A just takes over it. Maybe it might cancel one of the paths, it may add something. Maybe module B was returning a string, and suddenly, as an effect of module A, it returns a bunch of integers instead. Now, this is very bad. It's actually the worst, okay? Pathological coupling. Remember, pathological liars. Pathological coupling, not good. Okay, next. Best practices. Okay, now this is important, because for whoever that creates software, I had a lot of questions from people like, what do you think about before you start creating software? And it depends on the nature of your software and what you're trying to achieve. But generally, okay, a program with a small number of large modules that has very few connections in between them. So how we call it is high fat, low tangle. So fat is the content of a module. Tangle is the relationship. It's the sending different spores and different branches, branching out basically. Okay, we call it high fat, low tangle, best practice. We're almost done. Okay, so we covered a very big topic. Another topic is test-driven development, and this is a very special way of creating software. It's different from what we were doing so far, because so far we would write a piece of code, we would execute it, and hopefully, if we don't have any errors, we can see the program. Now, if we have any errors, we are dealing with them after we run the program. We go back to our code and we are fixing them. Okay, so this was the process of all our programs. Now, test-driven development has a completely different cycle. So first of all, you define a requirement, some sort of so I need to create a password with six digits. Okay, it has to have the length of 6. Okay, that's your requirement. Next, we write a failing test. So we on purpose, we create a piece of code that is not creating a 6-digit password. Maybe it creates a 5-digit password. Maybe it creates a 0-digit password. But the keynote is, after we create a failing test, we then go ahead, write a passing test, and then we move on to the next requirement that we are actively changing. So how it looks like in code, I didn't upload it to GitHub just yet, because I'm still it's still being graded. But I did have some midterm project with testing in Python. Okay, so we are using the unit test library, and we are creating a set of tests. Now, what we are testing is this snake stats library that I've created. Yeah, we should probably do a video on how to create your own library. And we are dealing with a few functions. So the first one, probably let's look at get reversed. Okay, so we write a function, and this file, snake stats, is a file that we keep updating as we go. We keep changing it. So this is not how get reversed looked like in the very first iteration. Okay, in the very first requirement, it didn't have all those lines of code. Okay, then hold on, where is it? Is return value get floor. Hold on, I'm finding it. Shooby-doo pop-up, peak to peak, get reverse. There you go. And then I had 3 different tests. So the first test was checking if the data type we are returning is a list. If it is, we continue to the next step. Okay, then is the list we are creating matching the list we are expecting to see? Are all the numbers there? And then lastly, we test if we return this list in reverse. And that's basically what summarizes this function. Now, it's a very simple function. There's nothing to it, but it's a nice workflow. It's very different from what we usually dealing. And there's actually a game that is associated with it. I don't even know if it's a game, but it's called The Three Laws of Uncle Bob. Okay, so you have 2 minutes and you have a set of rules that you need to follow during those 2 minutes. If you're interested, definitely Google it. You may not find it under Three Laws of Uncle Bob, maybe Three Laws of Test Driven Development, but it's very cool. We might do it on a channel one day, and I'm going to cover unit test very in detail, in lots of detail shortly. Okay, so what do we test when we are testing how good our software is, how efficient it is, right? What exactly are we supposed to check? So first of all, we check the interface of our program. Now, when I say interface, I do not mean graphic user interface, GUI. That's not the same interface. So the interface is basically if the data types we expect to see are those that we receive. So this is both in terms of input and output. We want to make sure that if we are expecting to get a list, we get a list. If we are expecting to get a string, we get a string, and there's no other data type we're dealing with. That's the first test. Now, second test is data structure testing. Does it make sense to store our data in the data structure we've chosen? And is the data being stored correctly there? Is it in the correct order? Are we getting the correct values? Is the data getting corrupt along the way? These are the type of stuff we're testing. Now, 3 is boundary testing. So we are passing some extreme conditions to our function. So basically, if our function deals with integers, we will try to pass a string to it and see how it behaves, right? We need to have, we need to make sure that everything that the user can do, we have tested and we've checked that it's not going to break our software. So we are passing the minimum values, the maximum values, values that you will very rarely encounter inside the function you defined. And still, we need to test it. We need to make sure that even if you type the wrong data type, if you had a typo, the software still knows how to behave and it doesn't crash on you. Okay, there has to be some sort of a way to handle extreme condition boundaries. 4 is texting testing execution paths. So basically, if you have a loop with a nested if statement with another nested loop, you need to test all the ways to exit. Okay, if you have a function that has a few return statements based on certain conditions, test all those return statements, because that's the only way to know that your software is behaving as expected. So just explore and investigate everything you can. Okay, and lastly, it's error handling. Okay, so it's not just in terms of presenting an error. Is how would you present this error? Will you print it in the terminal? How do you know that your user actually has a terminal? Okay, will you print it to the console? Where you just terminate the application, right? Will you just throw an exception? What are you going to do? You're going to ignore it? There's all kinds of ways to handle it. And it's a case-by-case situation, basically. So for example, if you're dealing with a huge website like Facebook, and I'm trying to do something fishy on Facebook, I'm trying to web scrape it, and Facebook is blocking my request, Facebook is not going to crash and terminate the entire software just because my request is problematic. It's just going to terminate my specific request. It's going to send me an exception, and that's how it's going to deal with me. Now, in the case of driving a Tesla vehicle that shows you an error at the very beginning, as soon as you launch it, I would probably terminate everything and start all over because it's a safety thing. And as long as we're dealing with safety, folks, I don't want to take the risk. Okay. I don't want my car to have an unexpected error as I drive. Okay. No, I don't drive a Tesla, but we almost got a Tesla. It just never ended up happening. I drive a Ram Longhorn. Okay. Now there's also a workflow of test-driven development, and it goes as follows. So first, I kind of went over it earlier. I should have put the slide ahead. So basically, we describe a well-defined requirement, something very specific. Okay, it cannot be ambiguous. I need a password. No, you need to describe this password in such way that anybody can understand what you mean. Okay, you need to be very specific and detailed in terms of requirements. Then you write a test to verify that the requirement is met. Okay. then you write the necessary code to pass the test. Okay, and lastly, you just repeat the process until you're done. So what do I mean? Maybe I can show you. Okay, so this is what I tried to show you earlier with my snake stats library. And let's go to the function we focused on. That would be get reversed. Peak to peak, that's okay. Get reversed, there you go. So part of my report was defining what we should do. So we start so the next set of tests implements a function that reverses the order of a list of any type. Okay, this could be a list of integers, a list of strings, so we don't really check the data type here. And yeah, so we start with a very basic implementation that only returns 0. Why? Because we only have 2 minutes. In 2 minutes, you cannot write sophisticated code, but you can build up a lot of 2-minute functionality one on top of the other. That's what's so fun about it. Now, after you wrote this test, you obviously return something. Okay, so your first test, does get reversed return a list of items? Okay, so then we do something called an assertion. Now, an assertion, it's a true or false Boolean statement that is testing for a very specific condition. Okay, and you can see those assertions in code. Self.assert is instance. So is instance is checking the data type. So if the response that we're getting, res, is in the type of a list, then we pass the test. If it's not, we failed it. Now, if this test is being passed, what our code should look like is this. Okay, so we started from a failing test. Okay, because that's what we returned only 0, which is not a list, and then we fixed it. It's hard to explain. It's better to demonstrate. We should do it once on the channel. Let me know if you want to see that. Yeah, let's go back to the slide. Ooh, is that Edge? Oh my God, you guys cannot see it, but that was Edge, the browser. I'm surprised. Well, I've reinstalled Windows not too long ago, so it makes sense. Oh, okay, so we have here some information about assertions too. Sorry, I forgot what I included in the slide. So assertion checks whether a condition is true and notifies clearly if it isn't. So actually how it's defined, how the definition they used in my university is complains loudly. So if something is wrong, the assertion will complain loudly. I love this one. I really love it. So there are 2 kinds of assertions. So one of them is compile time assertion, which is something that is done automatically by the compiler or the interpreter. I'm having a hard time with this word. And another type of assertion is the unit test assertion that we've just seen in another example. Again, we will cover it nicely on the channel, not like I covered it today. Much better. Okay, so if an assertion returns false, we either terminate the program or we throw an exception. That's the best ways of dealing it. We don't want to ignore the problem because there is a problem, obviously. And on the other hand, we don't know how to print an error statement in the terminal because we don't know if the user has a terminal. We don't know if they're using a cell phone. We don't know how to interact with the user. So yeah, we throw an exception or we terminate the program altogether, depending on your situation. Cool. Now, lastly, the last subject, and we don't have many slides on the topic, it's secure programming. So the whole idea about secure programming is that you have a lot of assets on your computer or your server, and you want to keep them safe. You don't want a bunch of people that have no business in looking at your files to look at them. So we need to find a set of principles in which we can use to create secure software. Okay? So security goals. Number 1 is confidentiality, okay, which basically means read access. Only people who have business to read the information you're presenting, only they should have access to it. So if you have information about a profile, a profile of somebody on social media, only the people who are following or subscribed to their social media feed will have access to this profile, right? Privacy. Now, integrity is number 2, which is basically right access. This only people who are authorized to make changes and edit the data should edit the data. Those who have no business editing the data, those who have no authority doing that, they shouldn't be able to access it. Okay, very important. You don't want a bunch of malicious folks, changing your code. There's no need. Three, availability. So while you're keeping everything secure, you need to make sure that other users can access it, right? If you put everything behind a crazy, scary firewall, guess what? Nobody will be able to use it. So what's the purpose of your service or program to begin with, right? And we also need to do it in a timely fashion. It's not enough to provide access. It also needs to be efficient in a way. You don't want to wait 30 minutes for something to load. If you do, you'll probably exit and move to something else. Internet is faster these days. Lastly, okay, and these two are very important definition. You will see them a lot. Is two types of analyzing different software. The first one is static analysis. This is where we look at the source code. We do not execute the app. We are just looking at the code, and based on that, we are searching for warnings, errors, and things of that sort. Now, we do this very often. Once we debug a software, we're doing static analysis, right? We do this very, very often when we're dealing with our own software. But there are also tools, which I'll probably cover too on Python Simplified, like Bandit, that you can just perform automatic static analysis with them. So pip install Bandit will get you a nice library that you can test your files with. It's going to show you some a few levels of security vulnerabilities. So first would be terrible errors, then there will be warnings, and anything that might trigger security issues, Bandit should cover. And if not, you can actually make your own customized test as well. So you can just repeat it time and again without writing it from scratch. Now, dynamic analysis is the second kind, and this is where we are identifying issues as the software executes. So while the software is running, this is where we can do all this troubleshooting and understand what went wrong. And for this, we have debugging tools. Probably we can use the console. There's all kinds of ways to do this with JavaScript. And there's also a special debugger tool, GDB, that we use with C++. So those of you who are into C, check it out. Check it out. Lastly, and these two definitions are kind of clear, but I'm just including it because I'm practicing for the test. Again, and it's important. So black box is only when the inputs and outputs of a module, of a software unit, or of something are known. The inner workings, what's going on inside, is not known. We are not supposed to see that, and it's good that we don't see it. It's an important principle. Okay, it's an important approach. Sorry, not a principle. Next, we have glass or white box testing, which is basically where everything, including the inner workings, the inputs and the outputs, are known. It's all transparent. Let's imagine an open source project that you can see everything. There you go. And we need it. Glass box is what we do with unit testing, because in order to write tests, like you've seen the assertions and everything, we need to have access to the actual source code. And yeah, whew, I did it. 43 minutes. I've summarized 6 months of schooling. Very excited, very excited. I hope you guys you'll find it useful, because I do have a lot of questions on those topics. And I think that in my course it was very free speaking language. It was very simple, and the teacher was kind of communicating to the students very freely. So we didn't have I don't really have the same list of definitions I usually have on other courses. This is mostly about reasoning and thinking about things. So it's very hard to remember and write it in a notebook. It's something you need to understand, and that's it. If they wake you up in the middle of the night, you need to be able to tell them that control coupling is not good. Okay? That's something that you need to imagine in your head, and that's it. Once you learn it, you cannot unlearn it. So, very excited to see your comments. So, very, very excited. And for this, I'm actually going to enlarge my head. There you go. There you go. Right? Let's do it. So, let's start from the very end, and I'm going to climb. I'm going to climb upwards. Ooh, actually, let me do something better. I'm going to move my entire screen to the side, and then I can see your comments much bigger, because I don't know if you guys know, but I'm usually wearing glasses. Okay, much, much better. Perfect, perfect. Wow, what a big head, right? That's well. If I don't enlarge it, you're not gonna see me because of the comments. You might miss me. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Abdul. Thank you. Shukran. Shukran, Habibi. What else we have here? In India today is Teacher Day. Oh, so it's a long weekend in India too, eh? So right now it's Labor Day in North America, both in Canada, both in the United States. I'm super happy to see that we are matching with India's holidays as well. That's so cool. The presentation, Ravis, you can actually copy it from the description. I have a link there, or didn't I? Oh no, I did not have a link there. Sorry. Oops. Oops. Yeah, I'm on it. I am definitely on it, folks. So we had it. Ooh, oops, that's my spouse learning HVAC. Okay, let me move it to the side, and I can do share. I can copy link, or actually, let me leave this presentation. So I can do a share option. I can do share with anyone, public access, beautiful. My apologies, folks. I've misguided you. I told you that it's in the description, but it wasn't. And I'm gonna add it to the description as soon as the video ends. Or yeah, I don't want to mess with it. I don't want to mess with it at this point of time. Um, I really don't want to change the description of the video I'm currently streaming with. So we will do this shortly. Again, my apologies. I've just posted the link. It's there in the comments. Check it out. I'm going to edit it into the description shortly. Or maybe I can just comment on this stream. I think it's going to work. Let me open it up in another tab. Ooh, ooh. There you go. This is Maria Inception. And how do I comment? Oh, okay. You don't comment. You don't comment as long as the stream is there. You okay? So yeah, we'll do this later. Sorry, guys. My apologies. I feel like a grandma sometimes. Okay, back to StreamYard. Back to your comments. Cool. So you're so easy to learn from. Thank you for sure. I'm trying to simplify things. I'm trying to make them human readable as possible, human understandable, no matter what level of programming you have. Hello from America, Dallas, Texas. Hello, hello, hello from Vancouver. Your northerner, northern, north, northern neighbors. Cool. Does assert only work in debug mode? No, 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 no. Assert is working in all kinds of modes. Yeah, you can do this during unit testing. Yeah, you don't need to change a thing. It's a library that you're basically using. So you're importing unit test, and based on unit test, you're doing your assertions. Hello from Ukraine. Hello, hello, Vladislav. Здрасте, здрасте. Здрасте, здрасте. Can you share this presentation? Yeah, I just did in the comments. Hello from Brazil. Hello from Vancouver. Where does fuzzing fit in the paradigm of software design and development? Fuzzing, static analysis. I'm not sure what fuzzing is, but maybe it's because I'm an immigrant. I don't know. I don't know. I didn't, my course did not cover this definition. Hello, hello to Steve. Hi, good to see you. Good to see you. What else? We have the Teacher's Day. Hey, what's up? All good. Ryuya, hey, great to see you. Tobbs is here as well. Thank you for being here. Okay, that this is a response to somebody. Okay, what if it's a website for old people? They might like it running slower. Sure, yeah. You know, the thing about websites running slower, I think these days we have all kinds of tools to bypass it. A lot of images have an alt attribute, so in case that they're not loading properly, we have something there to. First of all, it's also good for accessibility because there's people who don't see very well, and we do have a viewer who is a blind programmer on the channel. I've seen a comment. I got so excited. I didn't know that it's even possible, but the amount of drive that a person has, if you truly have passion for programming, you have no excuse. If this guy is being able to be a programmer with how hard it is, you don't have valid excuses. That's it. The only thing I say is stop big letters. Well, You know what? If I was seeing better, I would probably not have so much zoom in, and I wouldn't use so many so many large fonts. But myself, I don't see very well, especially when it comes to screens. Especially after 3 or 4, actually a week of rigorous learning in front of a screen. Holy smokes, you guys! It's hard on the eyes. Okay. Badger here in the comments, moderating, making sure that no scamming bots and no dating bots are interrupting us. And actually, I think it's interesting to learn. Badger is about to finish his degree, so I don't know if you had such a course on your. You probably had something similar, but yeah, I'm happy to share all the information I can, and I'm sure people will find it helpful. I hope so. Hope so. Which type of software used for software designing? So basically, you mean wireframing? If you're talking about putting all the components in the right place, just making sure they're there. There are so many software you can use. Actually, you can use just Microsoft Paint for that. All you need is a set of boxes, and you need to draw some elements. I've seen people doing this on a piece of paper. They don't even do this with software. You can do this with Inkscape. You can do this with Photoshop. You can do this with GIMP. You can do this with Illustrator. There's actually a special Adobe program called XD that you're creating wireframes and prototypes. Now, in my case, I like making my wireframes colorful. I don't just, my wireframes, they rarely deal with just the location of the elements and how they are bundled together, but they are also dealing with the styling I would like to use. Yeah, usually it's 2 different stages, but I combine them into one. So many programs out there. Definitely go for the most simple one. Yeah, even actually this presentation program I used, it's called Pitch. It's a free, like, I'm using it for free. I don't know if it's a free trial, but I had lots of fun designing this. They have all kinds of check it out. They have stickers that you can combine in your presentations. Now, if you spend a bit more time, you can make it as though it's an actual video. You can make it much more professional than how I made it. It's very easy to design. It's like they took, if you would like to add some shadow, you have all kinds of different shadows, right? You can decide the intensity of the shadow. There's so many things you can do here. It's like a simplified version of Illustrator for people who are not necessarily graphic designers. I find it amazing. I love it. That's what I used for this presentation. So you might be able to design your software using that. But yeah, so it's, you know, this presentation wasn't about designing software in the physical sense. It was about like thinking about the processes behind software design. Cool. So what we have here else? Okay, we have all kinds of users doing presentations. That's so cool. Good God, drive old-fashioned cars. I don't know. I don't know. Is Ram Longhorn old fashioned? I don't know. Well, for somebody who's camping a lot and, you know, is a lot in the nature, you know, it's hard to do this with a sedan. You kind of need a fancy vehicle. I don't know if everybody can afford a Model 6 of Tesla. Yeah, it's very expensive, folks. Yeah. Said I have to leave because of work. Well, we'll see you once you rewatch it. Thanks for being here. Thanks for your comments. She's not Albanian. No, I was born in Ukraine. My dad is actually from Georgia. So I'm a mix of a lot of cultures. I grew up in the Middle East. I'm Canadian now. So this is a wide range of nationalities that I'm carrying with myself. I do not speak Greek. No, I do not. I eat Greek a lot. I love the Greek recipes. Yeah. Okay. Okay, we have some comments by Alphabet, the owner of YouTube. Actually, no, matching the name of the owners of YouTube and Google. Мне нравится, как ты говоришь по-английски идеально. Спасибо большое. Alphabet is saying that he likes the way I speak in English. Hopefully you're going to like the way I speak in Russian too, because I need to practice. I really need to practice. I had a stream that I was just so bad in. So Tobbs is saying that test-driven development is the devil's work, and it is in a way. it's very hard to to think in terms of test driven development. It's very hard to think in terms of a 2 minute per test and building your software all the way up from scratch. Very hard, but possible. Now, the benefit of doing it in such way, building your software bit by bit, step by step, is you know for a fact that you've tested every step along the way. So you have a bit more confidence in your software when you do it that way. And it's actually fun. We might do this on the channel. I want to try it. I didn't try it with this 2 minute rule, but my lecturer tried it, and I thought it was really, really fun. Maybe we should do something together. Maybe we should figure out a piece of software together and to go over it. But before, I'll need to cover unit testing on this channel. Okay. I have an ex-girlfriend named Maria too. Well, it's a very nice spelling. It's a very special spelling. Not a lot of people have it. Mostly people coming from East European countries, I believe. Sometimes it's Marija. Sometimes it's Maria. They have different ways of spelling these things. I didn't decide on my spelling. It was kind of my Ukrainian passport. And ever since, the rest of the passports I got after using the exact same convention. So yeah. Okay. Going to, I like my modules thick. Going to reread design patterns. Yeah, for sure. For sure. There's so many nice books on this topic. There's so many nice articles. Actually, for the majority of this course of mine, what they used was articles, not even like full-blown books. And yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jerry. Don't decorate. Shame me. Every time I think of decorators, I think of Badger, because a few times he told me, Maria, you should make a decorators video. And he was so insistent that he even made a decorators practice code and everything. And I didn't cover it yet. I feel so bad. I should. It's important. It's very important. Ryuya, thank you for reminding me, for taking another sip of my awesome coffee. I actually have 2 cups for this stream. One that is not as hot, one that is a bit hotter. Yeah, it's actually it's finally becoming a tolerable weather where I'm sitting. Finally, I don't have my air conditioning on, so things are going back to normal. It's not as hot as it used to be. Thanks for doing this. Absolutely, absolutely. You know what? I'm practicing for my exams, and if it helps anybody, that's awesome. You know, paraphrasing the entire course was actually very fun. That this ensured that I understand everything, because when you write it in your own words, that's how you truly get it. When you're just copying somebody else's words, yeah, you'll memorize it, but in a few months you'll forget it. So that's that. There's that. Okay. So, hello, I'm Brazilian guy and I love your channel. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Tudo bem. That's what I know in Brazilian. In Portuguese, Brazilian. Portuguese, guys, Portuguese. Hi, Maria. Hello to my dear friend from Ontario. It's great you're sharing your progress and experience. Thank you. Absolutely. I missed you guys. I really did. And I don't have the time to film new videos. So maybe we should do like a live stream of this course. I really enjoyed this course. Really did. What else? What else do we have here? Okay, darn, I need to look off. I need to get back to writing and learning. Well, you can always revisit this stream later on. I'm usually including the most important parts in the very beginning, just so if you don't have the time to wait for me answering all the questions and stuff, you can just see it right away. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Print hello, Maria, from Dan and his daughter, Coral. Say hi to Coral. Please do. We have an aspiring developers, new generation over here. Yeah, we actually have a lot of viewers of this channel with little kids at home that are already practicing their programming skills. Tom sent me a picture of his kid with a computer trying to hack into something, obviously. That's really, really nice that you get exposed to programming in a young age, given your parents. Now, I was exposed to it given my uncle, I believe. He was really into computers, and back then nobody had computers. We were living in Ukraine, and I think that all of our relatives, they were coming to our house to play. It was Pentium 1. We had Doom on it. I was very scared of Doom. I love it these days. It was a really nice game. Can you teach us Plotly dash web apps? Yeah, dash probably will do eventually, but I'm not sure the Plotly. My team were pointing the finger at me before. I don't know why, because I wanted everything to duplicate. Duplicate? I don't know. Maybe it's a comment to somebody else. Okay, Jupyter Notebook and Colab both comes with a lot of libraries of Python, especially on basis of data science. Well, in the end of the day, it doesn't really come with Jupyter Notebook or with Colab, but you're basically accessing with Colab, you're accessing a development environment on Google servers. So you're not really running your code on your local machine, you're running it on Google's cloud, basically. Now, this cloud comes with pre-installed modules, but there are a bunch of modules you need to install on your own. So you might want to use, let me pull out Jupyter Notebook. So if you don't have, for example, if you're looking to import, sorry guys. Okay, sometimes you'll try to import modules that you don't have, in your working environment. So if you try to import Pygame, you're going to get an error. However, if you'd like to install a module inside your notebook, you just do a exclamation mark pip install Pygame. And it works, right? So even if your modules are not pre-installed, you can still install them after. There's a certain set of limitations when it comes to Google Colab, but generally, it's quite easy to install things in there. I stopped using it. I'm using there's actually nicer cloud servers that do not necessarily share your data with Google. Now, Google is kind of my employer at this point of time, so I'm getting checks from them given my YouTube channel, right? So you don't want to share everything with your employer, right? Well, I don't know if employer, but I guess I'm a contractor for them, or whatever it counts. So yeah. There are alternative services. However, Google, well, guys, I keep trying to access things, and then I discovered that it's Edge. I have to leave. Okay, there's GitLab. There's Jupyter Lab. There's also GitLab, but Jupyter Lab is an alternative to. Try it in your browser. Yeah, Jupyter Lab is an alternative to Google Colab. You can have your own notebooks running on the Jupyter cloud if you trust Jupyter more than you trust Google. Now, the only big benefit that Google offers is free GPU. Okay, so if you don't have a fancy graphics card, but you still want to do machine learning and you don't want to pay a lot of money, you don't want to pay money at all, Google Colab will give it to you for free. Okay, I have a few tutorials showing how to connect there, but they do offer you some accelerated CUDA GPU functionality. So yeah, there is a benefit in using Google Colab if you're a data scientist. Cool. Now, okay, and can you tell me about Jupyter Notebook or Google Colab, which is better? So basically, the major difference between them is the Jupyter Notebook runs on your local machine. It runs on your computer. It's very easily accessible. It is a notebook editor, and you can create different cells for different functionalities. Now, mine is opening with Edge because I just reinstalled Windows. But yeah, you have different cells and you can run them as you wish. You can run one cell without running the other. You can rerun cells. It's it's a nice way of teaching, I believe. So if you're a student and if you'd like to leave some records from your lecture or whatever, this is probably the best way of doing so, because you can combine markdown cells. So for example, I would like to add a comment of, this is very important. Now, you can, of course, add comments in your code, but here you have an extra piece of functionality. You can even upload images, right? So if you go to insert, if you go to, I thought it was in insert, eh? Huh, I guess it's not. I guess it's in file. There's a way of adding images in here. For sure. I've edited it before. I just can't find it anymore. Insert image. There you go. That will be an edit. But because I'm zooming in so much, it's very hard to see. You can load images from your computer. Do I have anything here? Let's go to, actually, let's go to my recent Twitter teaser. And once you run this cell with Shift Enter, there you go. You even have an image here. So you can plot things. You can leave the output of your notebooks here, and it's very, very easily shareable. The same set of principles also work for Google Colab. The only difference is Google is not running on your computer, and you might need to have a different. You might need to add some additional functionality that connects your Google Drive to your Google Colab, and that way you're able to access different files, not just your notebook. I have a bunch of tutorials on it. I do. Let me pull it out. Sorry, Edge again. I can't deal with Edge. I don't know. The only reason why people have Edge is to download Chrome. Seriously. What was I doing? Yeah, I was supposed to do something, but whatever. Yeah, we'll go to the next one. Sorry, guys. Okay. Let's go to the very bottom. I want to see your most recent comments. I know I went upwards, so let's start from the very end. And we'll go as we go. Okay. Have you used Deep Note? No, I did not have the chance to use Deep Note. I used Gradient, I believe. I used a bunch of different interfaces, but I don't always remember their names. But yeah, Jupyter Notebook is my go-to tool when it comes to notebooks. I really like it. Or Jupyter Lab. Yeah. Tutorial for Google Colab. Okay, Sploud. Thank you for reminding me. Sploud is also a moderator on Discord. Come say hi to him on our Discord channel. He was supposed to be in our modes live, but he was very busy. I understand he couldn't make it. But yeah, we'll do a bunch of other lives shortly with more guests. That will be really, really cool. So I was about to show you. I was about to navigate to my channel. Okay, I was about to go here, and I was about to show you the videos where I'm including some Google Colab things. So first of all, we have this. Sorry, Sploud, I'm gonna minimize you. We have this coding software, which is one of the very first videos I've ever filmed. So I warn you in advance. That's still in my old apartment with my old microphone and my old laptop. Very interesting. Okay, so this is where I'm talking a bit about Google Colab. Now, in other tutorials, either the web scraping with mechanical soup, I believe this one is also filmed with Google Colab, as well as the graphs, plotting graphs, trends with Matplotlib. So these two, or the web, yeah, I think the web scraping and the graphs are both in Google Colab. And then we also have the neural network part 1 and part 2. This is where I show you how to connect GPU services to your Google Colab. Also using Google Colab, sharing my project via Google Colab. I was using it a lot back in the day. Now, these two, I must warn you, it's a very stupid neural network. So if you're following this tutorial, don't expect your neural network to be perfect. It was the very beginning of my journey, and I wasn't explaining things very well back then. Okay, okay, I've seen this one. Is there any way of contacting you, email address or something like that? Not Discord, please. Well, I rarely check my email. You can find my email address on my GitHub. You can find it on my channel. You just go to your channel, and in the about section, you can view my email address for business inquiries. But again, like the reason why we have all these lives is so I am able to communicate with you guys, because the more the channel grows, the harder it becomes to answer your emails, and it's almost impossible. I wish I had so many hands and so many brains, but I'm doing this on my own. I don't have any employees. I have a lot of help from my moderators, but they're helping out. It's they're volunteering. They're doing this because they're happy one day I'll have enough money to spoil them with lots of gifts. But until then, I'm a student. That's how I do. So yeah, I don't have all the time in the world to keep up with things, unfortunately. Can you tell what exactly you do at work, where you're programming? I'm a student. I'm a student. My work is YouTube. As you can see, I upload videos all the time. I'm a content creator. I used to be a graphic designer for many, many years. But in the past years, I decided to take another journey. So I'm a computer science student. I'm in my 2+ year. I have 7 modules left before I get my degree. So it's not a lot. And yeah, my exams are right now. So yeah. אלון, שלום אלון, מה קורה? מה נשמע? בוקר טוב, שנה טובה בקרוב. He's asking Wayscript vs Google Colab. So these are two cloud interfaces, cloud IDEs, but there are different in many different ways. So Google Colab is a notebook interface. It consists of a lot of cells that are combined together. Wayscript, however, is an IDE. You have your terminal there, a bash terminal like we would have with Linux, which you can use to run your programs. You can also host with Wayscript, right? So you can host your website there. There's so many different pieces of functionality that an IDE has in general, not only Wayscript, over a notebook interface. So a notebook is mostly for research, is to present some data. A lot of data scientists are utilizing notebooks to the fullest. My recent project in data science that I'm gonna upload it to my GitHub because I got 80. I got 80, which is a nice score in my university. If you have anything above 70, you're good. You're very good, right? So since I got it graded not too long ago, I'm gonna upload it to GitHub, and you'll be able to see the main usage of notebooks. Basically, it allows you to plot data, it allows you to investigate data, and it allows you to basically view a lot of information step by step on the same sheet, so that not only programmers can understand it, but also scientists and laboratory staff and folks of that kind. Yeah. She's a full-time student and content creator outside of school for now. That's right, Badger. Badger knows me very, very well. Yeah. Are you working already as a professional developer? Yeah, guys, it's the same question. Yeah, I know that a lot of people are asking this, but in the end of the day, if you can find a job as a professional developer before you finish school, good for you. Go for it. Grab it. Take the opportunity. The reason why I'm doing this qualification is because very often, even when you do find a job and when you're happy with it, it doesn't mean you'll be happy with it in the next 5 years or 10 years or 12 years. Now, in our industry, everything is very dynamic. Okay, what I'm learning right. So funny fact, I took a Python course by accident for this semester. I was keeping it for last because that would be the course that I wouldn't study at all for. And I got 80 on a project that I didn't even watch any of the videos before. Okay, it was a web scraping project. I thought it's going to be way more sophisticated than it actually was. They were doing this with beautiful soup. They were doing this with like very simple scrapers. I did a full-blown Selenium web scraping database. I had so many entries in there. I had so many different web pages I've scraped for. Honestly, you guys, I did a much more complicated project that I should have. But it's good. I got a good score for it. But part of part of the reason why I didn't watch any of the videos, I was annoyed. I was a bit angry because they filmed those videos, I believe, in 2015. And so many different things changed. They had so much redundancy in their code, and it really annoyed me. Why are you doing this way? So Python was very different back then, and I acknowledge it. So things are changing very dynamically. So if you're working on one type of software, so for example, right now you have a JavaScript website you are maintaining, and you have this job for 10 years. And then what happens if in 10 years your company closes, or you're looking to advance your skills? There's nowhere for you to grow within the company, so you're looking for other opportunities. Will you have any advantage by not having a degree? I think you'll be in big problem because folks who just finished university, they would probably be more trained on the things that are relevant for today, right? And then you might be in a disadvantage. I've seen programmers dealing with these type of problems before. So whenever you have this degree, this is a stamp of approval that is internationally recognizable. If your facility is fancy, if your university is well known, I do it for the piece of paper. All the knowledge, everything I obtained from the university, a lot of it was very important. But I do acknowledge the fact that you can get it from different resources. If you don't get it from the University of London, you can get it from the University of SFU, Simon Fraser, right? You can get it from University of British Columbia. You can get it from University of Calgary, right? In the end of the day, the same as long as you are proficient with this information, you can start your journey as a programmer, but there's all kinds of sources you can get it through. Edge browser puts me on edge. Yeah. Masha, пожалуйста, говори немножко по-русски. Igor, is that my dad or is that a viewer of the channel? Because my dad's name is Igor. I can tell there's a chance for him to write me a comment like that. Yeah. So yeah, if it's you, Dad, Papa, I know if it's you, okay? Извиняюсь, я говорю по-русски нормально, но не так уж хорошо, чтобы учить по-русски. I speak Russian like a normal person, normal Russian, I guess, but not technical Russian. I don't know any of it, right? I left when I was 6. So you can imagine it's been many years since then. I didn't even learn how to write and read. I had to learn it in Israel. I didn't learn it before. Hello, I just started development a few months ago, and your tutorials were very helpful for me. Thank you so much, Snow. I'm super happy to hear. Yeah, it's stormy. It's stormy in Wales. Actually, it's not so sunny here either. For the past few days, we had a bunch of rain, which is refreshing. We had a very hot summer. Yeah, it was very, very fun. Okay, what else do we have here? Okay, sure. Thank you, Splout. Yeah, that's right. We need more coffee. Did you notice I got new cups? I got it from Amazon. Yeah. Learning regex in Python is killing me. Regex is important, and yet it's about training your brain about those patterns, right? How do you select all the words that start with the letter A? How do you select all the dates of that format, right? It's a very important tool for automation. Okay, a lot of times when we are dealing with text data, when we are loading books, and when we are dealing with things of that sort, regex comes very handy. Now it's funny. I think I'm almost through the entire Python course, and it's data program. It's programming with data. That's how it's called, and we're using Python for that. Now it's funny, but we reached regex, like slightly of regex. We mostly focus on the NLTK library rather than regex, and I think that regex is way more friendly to use than NLTK. I don't know. That's my specific experience with it so far. Static analysis depends on the analyzers that are used. Some look for unused declarations, some look for actual vulnerabilities in your code. Yeah, it depends if you're looking at it from the perspective of secure programming, or if you're looking from the principles of just general design. There are different types of tools for that. So far, the only static analysis I've been doing was the physical one, looking at my code and physically addressing errors. However, Bandit, it's really, really cool. If you're using a lot of Python and you don't have much time to test your code, in Python it's hard to detect errors because things will work. Things very often that you don't expect to work might work. It's a very ambiguous language, right? So it's important to test your code before you go to production. Definitely use tools like Bandit. They can automate it for you. If your file is only 10 lines long, probably doesn't make much sense. But if you have hundreds upon thousands upon millions upon whatever amount of lines or files, yeah, you better use an automated tool for that. That's a bit more time saving, time efficient. If Python disappeared tomorrow, what language would you program in instead? Okay, well, I'd be in very big trouble if Python disappears tomorrow, but I would say the closest is it's a good question. It's a very good question. I depends for what. If it's for machine learning, you kind of don't have much choice. You would probably go for R or something of that sort. I wouldn't go for C++ or C for machine learning. That's a bit too much for me. That's a bit too specific. You know, with C++, you need to be explicit, much more explicit than you are with Python. You need to define your the data type that each of your variables has, and you don't just define it in terms of a float or an integer, but you also define it in terms of the number of bits it takes up in your memory. Okay, so it requires a wider understanding of programming, and if you're dealing with something as complex as machine learning, I wouldn't use C++ for that. So R probably. I started learning it. I didn't like it. I stopped. Now, in terms of software design, sure, C++. I'll go for it. Yeah, it creates some really nice software. It's a convention. A lot of people are using it for programs. There's lots of libraries also that you can combine with C++. It's a very ancient and ancient and current language. I think the purpose of static analysis is not to look for type mismatches, really. It's for finding unused declarations and memory leaks, I think. They define it in my university as anything that may be a warning or a vulnerability or anything that doesn't follow the rules of secure programming, right? It's something that there's different tools of doing this, and different tools are testing different things. We'll do nicer, we'll cover it nicer on Python Simplified. Love Georgia, Gamar Joba, MC, Gamar Joba. It's hello in Georgian. Where could I send? Yeah, I showed you already. Okay, spoon-fed. You should have a way of people to donate to you. You're very charismatic and knowledgeable. Spoon-fed, thank you so much. I do have ways of donating to me. You can either send me a super chat or a super sticker through the current live. Every time I'm live, you can feel free to do so. And also, I've added a brand new thank you button to all my videos. And if you're watching a video that you find absolutely interesting, you find it absolutely helpful, you really want to buy me coffee, that's the way to do so. YouTube will take a small percentage of the sum, but that's the easiest way to donate to me. I don't want to start a Patreon. I don't want to do any of these things. You know, if you guys have the money, if you guys have the ability and the means to support the channel, definitely do. But I don't want to encourage people to just send me money, because I believe that education should be free. And I know that a lot of people are students. They're watching this channel because they don't necessarily can afford a university type of thing. So I want everybody to be able to access this type of data. So I don't really talk about donating, and I don't like talking about it. If you have it by any means, I really appreciate it. Really, really, really. But if you don't, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Ram Longhorn. It is nice. Actually, it's my favorite car, my favorite vehicle in the history of the world. I can drive it. I cannot park it though. I'm not good with parking. It's a very big truck. It's very big, and our parking lot. I live in this modern design type of building where the parking lot is, it's in a rounded kind of a scenario. So every time you try to go into the parking lot, it's a heart attack. So I don't park. My spouse is in charge of that. I'm not touching it. It's too much for me. Okay, I do have a Fiat 500, which is my official vehicle. The Ram is what Mario's driving. I'm usually a passenger in the Ram. Very often, very rarely, I take the wheel. I work in an institute in Austria, and we need a Python trainer. How can I contact you? Well, Abdul, let me finish my computer science degree first. Let me learn everything before I can teach you. I'm trying to teach along the way. I'm trying to kind of this is what I understand. This is what I learned. Maybe it might help you. But in terms of physically teaching others, officially teaching others, I don't mind waiting. Like when I have this stamp of approval that yeah, I finished my degree, I learned everything, I'm gonna share my grades with you because they're really really nice. Okay, I want everything to be transparent. And yeah, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get to the point where I have more time than I have at the moment. But yeah, I'm I take school very seriously. Okay, let's see. Oh, we have some very nice comments here. So this stream, no badger, no badger cameo on this stream. So I'm assuming that I'm assuming Mike watched the stream we had last week where Badger appeared from from his office box. Yeah, we need a new illustration for Badger for the next stream we'll do together. It's going to be very very interesting. Yeah, and I was right. It is Splout from Discord. At first, I guessed. I was like, if it's not him, I'm gonna be in trouble. But it is him. Yeah, here's a confirmation. Awesome. Awesome. Oh wow! Thank you so much, Mike. Thank you for the super chat. I see it here. Thank you so much. I will keep up the great work. I will keep doing what I'm doing because I think it's important. As long as the channel grows, as long as folks keep asking questions and keep commenting, I'm so happy to see that. And yeah, if you have any issues with your code, not necessarily Python, please keep in mind that you can always join our Discord server and ask us any question. Not just myself, but also the rest of the mods, the rest of the developers on the Discord. We have a really nice community there. I highly recommend you to join. I'm there mostly in the mods chat, mostly, but I need to start chatting with everybody else. For sure, for sure. Cool. What do we have here? I am from Spain, computer science degree plus data scientist master, computer vision master. Where can I look for a job outside of Spain without being fluent in English? Oh, wow, that's a great question. You know what? Black John, we're going to have a very nice stream on September the 20th with Geeks for Geeks. Now, I don't know if you guys, most of you, I'm sure, are familiar with Geeks for Geeks. I'm going to pull out their website right now. Ooh, Geeks for Geeks. So basically, Geeks for Geeks started as a service to help developers find a job in high tech. Okay, they have all kinds of tutorials and courses. They even have a jobs. They have a job posting and they have a job application platform. So you can find all kinds of stuff in there. So I'm gonna have Geeks for Geeks coming to a stream on this channel, and we will talk about these type of questions on September 20th. Okay, this is going to be an early stream because the guys are in India and I don't want them to be sleepy during the stream. So we're going to start at 8 o'clock, 8:30, something along these lines. And yeah, absolutely. We will talk about all of this because at this point of time, I don't know if I'm qualified to give you job advices, right? If I was working in a company, if I didn't have fluent English and I was able to find this job, I could answer this, okay? Or if I knew somebody that had a story that I could tell you, right? Because I don't have this experience, it's hard for me to give you advices on it, right? I want to be as truthful as I can. That's why I'm inviting Geeks for Geeks. So definitely, Black John, make sure you be here on September 20th. I'm gonna advertise it. I'm gonna advertise it everywhere. Okay, on all my platform. You guys will be aware. I'm actually meeting Geeks for Geeks tomorrow, so I'm going to make sure they're aware of your question. I want them to answer it because we have a lot of international folks here. I'm sure they'll appreciate it. It's a very good question. Thank you. Awesome. What do we have? I'm going to pull out some of the recent comments and then I'm going to go upwards. Okay. Alon, do you currently live in Russia, USA, Israel, or anywhere else? I live in Canada, in beautiful British Columbia, in Vancouver. Ah, yeah. Nice place. I might be living elsewhere very soon. Yeah, who knows? Who knows? I'm working on moving away. It's a really nice place to live, but I want to explore different regions. I want to see the world, and yeah, I might move. We'll see. What do you think of Dart and Flutter? I didn't have a chance to test them too much, but yeah, well, I definitely will one day. Definitely will. Okay. Hi. Hi, coding freaks. Hello, hello. We, as Decepticons, run Python in our Linux SO. Decepticons. I don't know what's Decepticons. Is it? Sounds like a Transformers thing, like from the movie. Okay. Yeah. So I mentioned it earlier, but we Badger and Josh created a new server. I'm in this server. I'm one of the folks there. You can find me. You can chat with me there. This is a partner server of our current Discord channel. This is the Treehouse Club. Now, the Python Simplified Discord is mostly programming oriented. It's for code jams and things of that sort, getting to know people in the programming community, helping with debugging code and things like that. But Treehouse Club, this is for general conversations about any topic you can think of. Cooking, 3D printing, check it out. Accept the invitation. I'm going to share it once again in the comments. There you go. Join us for sure. Join us. And I think that in recent years, there's a lot of changes in how we communicate with our friends, with our family, with the world. There's so many changes, and I find a lot of people end up being lonely as a result. Now, in our servers, it's very hard. With our community, it's very hard to be lonely. I go there for a specific task. I log into to Discord to say something, and then I find myself staying there for 3-4 hours talking about unrelated things. It's just fun. There's really nice people in there, and I'm very lucky to have a lot of viewers that have the very similar points of view to mine, and we're kind of helping each other in this mutual journey of ours to become programmers. It's very convenient to chat that way, even though this format of live streams is also very convenient. What is your favorite app you created? Oh, wow, that's a really nice. So I think my favorite app was a forest of object. Okay, that's definitely. I'll show you the tutorial for it. It's an object-oriented programming. Well, I guess you can call it an app. It's not exactly an app, but basically I'm showing you how to create a class, an object, a forest of 3 objects with different lengths, different heights, different colors. And every time you will rerun your code, you will get a completely different picture. So that's what you see behind me, right? Sorry. Where was it? Oh, I lost it. There you go. So what you see behind me on this thumbnail, that's what you will be able to create with this code. So that's probably my favorite project. Another project that I really like was this mobile KeyVMD that my head is blocking. Mobile app with KeyVMD. That was also a good one because it was very difficult for me to find out how to convert a Python file into an Android application using Windows. Okay, if you have Linux, it's very easy, but using Windows, it was very difficult. So I was able to figure it out, and that's why I love it so much. Yeah, so thank you for the question. Yeah, and since then I made a few really nice software for university, but again, they're still being graded, so I cannot really share them at this point of time. I will eventually. Okay. Unreal Engine user can join that Discord. Absolutely. We have so many gaming channels there. Holy smokes, you're going to love it. You're going to love it, Max. I can't remember why these gag exists, but always, hey, mom. Yeah, there was a stream. I think one of the first streams that one person started to call me mom, and then everybody else just joined. And Mother of Pythons. Okay, this is a nice. I love this one. I love this nickname. I think on stream. I think on stream I'm Mother of Pythons. Myself and my spouse were both Mother of Pythons. Okay, cool. So I went over this one. Awesome. Okay. So, oh snap, when I said we were going to be rated by bots, I wasn't expecting Decepticons. It was Transformers. See, guys, I am aware of popular culture. Surprisingly. Okay, and we have Josh here, persistent. to whom this brand new Treehouse Club Discord channel belongs to, along with Badger. Okay, you can see Badger in all the comments. There you go. There you go. And yeah, the link is in the description and it's in the comments. And we have Splout saying hi. So Splout, Persistent, and Badger are mods on my Discord server and our Discord community. I don't think it's mine at this point of time. It's ours. It's a collective one. So yeah, I really appreciate you guys being here. It's awesome. I'm always happy to see you. Привет, смотрю твои видео. Спасибо. Спасибо большое, Игорь. Спасибо. Мой папа, он тоже Игорь. Another Igor we have in the comments. I'm letting everybody know that my dad is also Igor. It's the same name. Okay, what thinks your friends, family that you're a content creator on YouTube? By the way, I think it's a good time to find a good job in some corporation. Your experience is enough. Yeah. So the jobs that I'm getting my way are mostly in terms of marketing, are mostly in terms of content creating, because once you have a platform with hundreds of thousands of subscribers, it you have a different type of value than any other programmer, right? You have a community that you're communicating with, and you are able to expose to different services, different programs, right? So I guess that any employer that at this point of time will look at my resume, I don't think they'll be much interested in my programming skills. I wish they were. They'll be like, oh, she's a YouTuber, hired. There'll be something along these lines. But right now, I'm not really looking for jobs. I have too much on my plate already. I'm a very good student, so I'm studying like crazy, like a lunatic. Okay. I'm going to share my grades with you at a certain point of time. And yeah, I think it is important, especially since I am trying to teach other people about programming. I think it's important that I'll be qualified to do that, right? Officially. So yeah, I'm not really looking for a job right now, but I have all kinds of sponsors reaching out through the email, all kinds of interesting projects I'm working on this channel. And hopefully I'll be able to reach many, many people that way. And yeah, and share some exciting news about the tech world. Maria, did I miss something there? What my friends' family think about the channel. Now, my friends and family, a lot of them are programmers. So those who are programmers, it's very nice. They can understand what I'm talking about. Doesn't necessarily mean they're watching. I caught my brother. Okay, my brother had a Python project for his school or whatever. And instead of learning on Python Simplified, he went learning on other channels. And I caught him and I told him, Ronnie, you're not ashamed? Your sister is working so hard on this channel and you go elsewhere. So my family doesn't acknowledge that, that they should be watching me, but they do support me a lot, for sure. They're really excited. They're watching those videos. My parents, they don't speak English, but they do enjoy watching them. It's very interesting. I don't know what they understand out of it, but I guess seeing me smile is a good thing. Yeah, I haven't seen them for a while physically. It's only on Skype. It's been tough couple years here in Canada. I don't know if you guys are aware, but yeah, not easy times. Maria, what materials would you recommend for developing interpersonal communication and soft skills? Practice. So the only way to practice communication is to communicate. Okay, so don't start from communicating with the people you want to be hired by, but start communicating with folks in that have the same interests as you. So for example, you can find communities, groups, either on Discord. You can join our community, of course. You can find the links in the description. You can join Facebook groups. You can join all kinds of places, but instead of chatting with people online, see if somebody lives in your region. See if you can meet somebody physically and talk to them, right? I find that the best way to practice your ability to communicate is face to face. It's very hard to do it on Zoom. I don't know. I don't function well on like Zoom, or I don't use Zoom at all, but like Google Meets and things of that sort. I don't function very well. There's a type of delay, and your eyes are not always looking at somebody else's eyes. Sometimes you're looking at the camera, right? It's hard. I like reading people. I guess that's how it's called. Reading what emotions people have. Reading what I think that they want to say, even if they don't say it. Yeah, there's a lot of things under the surface. Or become a waitress, right? Go for like a customer service type of a job that is like physical. Try to practice it a bit, maybe some kind of a part-time gig. Um, my spouse, many years ago, he was a hairstylist. That's a very good way of developing communicational skills, because you don't have a choice. You're with a client, you have an hour to work on their hair, and guess what? You better have some topics to talk about, otherwise it's going to be boring. Yeah. There's all kinds of ways to develop, but always face to face. My recommendation. uh, Okay, I started Python, but I quit because I felt I don't understand it. Ah, Max, we need to fix that. We need to fix that. Hey, if you understand Unreal Engine, Python should be a piece of cake for you. We're gonna figure it out. We're gonna teach you for sure. Don't worry. What I always miss, how do I plan an app or a program? What do I do before programming? So that's basically what this live stream was all about. All those things you need to think about before you even start writing code. I mean, how tangled your modules should be, what should be bundled together, what are the relationships between different modules, how to make sure your software is secure, right? It needs to be confidential. We talked about these stuff. So just refer back to the beginning of the stream and you will see the by the book type of definitions of what you should do. That's what they teach in a university. But actually, what you need to do is plan it in advance. Just sit down, have a piece of paper, write everything you want to include, design it, draw it, do a bit of planning. And it all depends on the nature of your software, right? If you're making something simple, there's no need to plan it for too long. But if you're making a very sophisticated piece of software, spend a decent amount of time planning it. Try to figure out how many classes you're going to have, right? Object-oriented programming, what the relationship between those objects are. It's more complicated than that. It's not a one-size-fits-all question. It all depends on the context. That Discord link was invalid. Was it? Oh, you mean this one? You mean the Treehouse Club link? Or my server that I had on the... Let's check it. I have another link to the Python Simplified server. And when you guys are bearing with me, I'm going to check if it works. Okay, let's paste it here. Let's see. I think both of them are working. That would be the Python Simplified link. And I'm sharing in the comments right now. So I'm not sure what went wrong. Not sure, guys. Yeah. I don't know where this eats code repeat came from. I bet you it's the guys. It's the mods, for sure. Okay. Let's see what we have. Let's see what we have. Okay. Yes, Unreal, including C++ too. Ooh, guys. Okay. You know what happened? My camera just stopped. So I guess my camera overheated after 1 hour and 43 minutes. So my apologies, guys. That means that the end of the stream is here. I wish I could answer more of your questions, but I'm here with my I'm here with my voice. Okay, but yeah, I'm not here with my camera, unfortunately. So, folks, it was a pleasure having you here. Thank you so much for joining this stream, and I will see you very soon in a brand new tutorial. But before that, I have a bunch of tests. So wish me luck, and yeah, we'll be in touch. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.